goodness. 38 weeks feels so crazy to say. It was a big week. It was a big week in a lot of different ways. It started out with Malachi's 15-month birthday. So that was, a lot of intensity, as it usually is, just thinking about how I would have a 15-month-old. And it's really weird to fathom that, because he'll always be my little boy to me, even though he would have been growing and growing and growing beyond what I remember him as, in the time that we had together here on earth. And then the next day, July 19th, is the day that we believe that we conceived Malachi. So it was really powerful thinking about how 2 years ago I became a mother. You don't become a mother when you give birth. I think the final initiation into motherhood is giving birth and seeing your child, but truthfully, you become a mother the moment you conceive. And it just, my life is forever changed from that moment of becoming a mom. And I just can't believe it's been 2 years. We're now fully integrating into the 2-year markers of Malachi, and that was the first of many, so that was a lot. And then the 20th, is 15 months since he passed, which I think I hang on more to his birthday days more than the months, the time that he passed, because it doesn't have a hold on me. Death is death, and I've processed a lot of that. It's the wondering and thinking wow, he would be how big, I don't know, that can get to me sometimes. But so that was a really big start to the week. My mom helped me clean out the nursery. It was kind of a huge mess in there. A lot of my grief creative projects, it was taking up a lot of space. It's like a hybrid nursery / office. And so I had a lot of project things for myself, and clothes, girl clothes that we'd been given, and stuff like that we needed to go through. And I had really been open to not going through them at all, going through them later on in postpartum, getting it over with. I had all the thoughts and feelings and just wanted to sit with it a little bit, and Paul was ready to do whatever we needed to in order to do all that. And the thing is we're not really going to have her be in the nursery that much, really. I can imagine if we're gonna be napping, we're gonna be doing a lot of contact napping, maybe some co-sleeping. She's gonna be sleeping here in our room for a while, and so the nursery doesn't need to be this big put together thing. And that's how I felt last time with Malachi. We had things organized in there, we had a place for everything, but it didn't feel it needs to be nice and everything needs to be put together so that we can spend all our time in here. And mentally, I think I just needed it to be cleaned out so that I could just walk in there with a sense of okay, this is a renewal, a reset. So my mom and I went through all of that, and really she helped, because I'm so pregnant at this point, it's hard to get up and get down and move things around, and she really helped just organize everything and put things in the closet that needed to go in the closet, get rid of some things that needed to go to a donation place and stuff like that. And so that was good. And we ran to Target, and we actually picked up a few things that I had needed as well, some baby wipes, and stuff for padsicles, which I just highly recommend to anyone who gives birth. Any woman on her journey with birth and postpartum, padsicles are a wonderful thing. It's basically where you buy pads and then witch hazel and aloe vera, and you put it the witch hazel and aloe vera on there, and you can also add some other stuff too, but I also have some postpartum spray that a really good friend of mine made for me, with a bunch of healing herbs. And when you are wearing your diapers, postpartum, because you're bleeding, you also put this padsicle in there, and what you do is, like, when you're done making the padsicles, you put them in the freezer so they're nice and cold to help with like inflammation and, you know, healing, and just how much has gone down there. And they were like such a godsend for me last time, especially after everything we went through. Like, it felt like it was such a like pleasurable relief to have something that like helped me just relax when there was so much other things going on mentally and spiritually with grief and loss of Malachi. So yeah, I made a bunch of padsicles, which was really fun. And then we I had a bunch of nursing bras and everything. I just needed more bras in general. I'm just in this awkward phase of like, where are my boobs? I don't know. They're only gonna get bigger. Navigating that, and even braved our way into the clothing section, the little girls clothing section, and got a pretty little 12-month-old dress, which was just a lot. But yeah, that was big. Going through the nursery was huge, and honestly, it was just really cleansing to do that. And then a couple days later, Paul and I decided to go through all the girl clothes and organize them, and organize Malachi's clothes. You know, a lot of his clothes were gender neutral, so we are able to like utilize some of them, you know, just onesies, white onesies and different colored onesies that don't have dinosaurs on them. Not that girls can't wear dinosaur clothes, but like, it's like funny how girl clothes are like all pink and fairies and I don't know, like litter vomit. And then you have boy clothes and it's dinosaurs and trucks, like very gendered, you know, which is fine. But yeah, so like there's only so many dino clothes you can have for a boy. But you know, we had a lot of hand-me-downs from my nephew anyway, so it was easy to kind of separate myself mentally from that. But some of the ones, like my friend made me a little onesie for Malachi that said Mama's Boy on it, and seeing that was really hard and just took my breath away. You know, I just have to remind myself that Malachi is so much bigger than clothes. Like, I mean, every one of our children, they're so much bigger than clothes anyways, but you know, it's just something that you take for granted as like a regular parent who hasn't lost children, that you're gonna clothe your child every day. And it's not necessarily the clothes themselves, but like the baby and the clothes, you know, and the fact that they went so unused for 15 months now. So yeah, it was a lot, but Paul and I were able to organize it all. I did a bunch of laundry, and like we just folded up all of her stuff and organized it and put it in there. And it felt good to just have it out of the way, and it's just in a spot, and if it needs to move, if it doesn't get used, like whatever, you know, we at least did the act of it. And that was a powerful, brave thing to do. So yeah, we did the nursery, and I'm really slowing down. I'm not doing a lot of walking. I am having some cramping on and off, some Braxton Hicks. The Braxton Hicks are pretty constant, but some like different kind of like period cramps are coming and going, and just taking note of how much I'm slowing down and everything. Like the walks are harder. I'm not really working out anymore. I'm going to the gym once a week and just swimming and floating in the pool, doing a lot of stretching, So yeah, I feel very proud of myself for doing some really hard things and ordering things. Like we ordered the bassinet. I can talk more about in the next video because we put it together this week. I'm 39 weeks currently. You know, that was a big thing. The bassinet was just a huge trigger for me. But I've done a lot of brave things, and I'm really proud of myself for following through with them and just doing it anyways. I feel like I've had this like, not change of heart, but realization that it's go time. You know, I'm giving birth no matter what, and it was going to be that way always. Like even if you lose your child, you have to birth them still. So like, it's going to happen, and that is a reality. And so I might as well just do the prepping. I might as well just do things that are hopeful when they don't feel very smart to be hopeful or whatever. Like, I have to get it done. Why not prepare? Why not just do it? even though it kind of makes my skin crawl. It's terrifying. Like there's two options, and one like is to just like do nothing and be paralyzed and frozen, and the other is to just move forward and just like go through the motions if you can't even feel a thing. And it's all about just being able to try and harbor that hope a little bit more. My therapist and I were just talking about touching the edges of it, you know, touching the edges of normal, touching the edges of hope, even if you can't fully feel like, I'm so excited and I'm so hopeful. Like you can at least just be like, oh, well, I can imagine it for a sec. You know, I can sit with that emotion for a moment and then really try to integrate it into like a part of the experience. So another big thing is that my really good friend, we both share midwives, and she's been a wonderful, beautiful friend in grief. She was 6 weeks ahead of me with her daughter, and we weren't expecting to see each other until after Eden was born. She was doing some quarantining, you know, just wanting to be in her newborn bliss and postpartum and not leave the house. And she, you know, also wanted to make sure that, like, you know, if I wasn't ready to meet her daughter, then, you know, we would wait until after Eden was born. And we both were surprised to see each other at my midwife's house. She was there for a postpartum appointment, and I was there obviously for a prenatal, and I got to meet her daughter, and it was a lot, you know, it was a lot. It was beautiful. I think it was what needed to happen. Like, I think God allowed that like situation and encounter to happen because it wasn't made into this big thing because it was sprung on us, you know. And I met her, and I had my prenatal appointment, and my friend was still there, and my midwife was holding her daughter, my friend's daughter, and she was like, well, have you met her yet? Have you held her yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't held a baby since Malachi, you know. And she handed her to me, and it was so crazy holding this little baby who wasn't my child, who didn't feel like my child, and having these glimpses and flashbacks of Malachi and holding his fingers and holding his tiny body. And I don't know, it was, gosh, it's just, this is grief and life. It's so painful and so beautiful at the same time. So but it was good that I did that, and it was good to like overcome that kind of thing in my mind of just really struggling with newborns, struggling with babies. And that first baby that I got to hold, you know, was a very, very special girl, you know, and being able to hold her and have that moment with her was good. And hopefully her and Eden are the best of friends. We're planning on it. So anyways, here's the 38 weeks.